Hi, today we're looking at Functional Skills Maths Level 1. We've got the AQA exam board, we've got the May 2023 paper, and we're going to start with the non-calculator section. Okay, question 1. A fair spinner has 6 equal sections. Let's move this up a little bit. Okay, the spinner is spun once. Circle the probability of landing on an odd number. Right, so we've got some probabilities to choose from, but first of all, let's work out what we think the answer should be, and then let's see if that's one of them. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 outcomes, as it says here, 6 sections. So we're going to write the fraction out of 6. We want the probability of landing on an odd number. Well, the odd numbers, we've got 1 is odd, 3 is odd, 1's odd, 3 is odd. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 odd numbers. So the answer is 4 out of 6. And we've got that one there. Question 2. Work out 15.6 times 100. Okay, so we've got 15.6. Now, times, we're making the number bigger. 100, we've got 2 zeros, so we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. 1, 2. Now, because we've now got the decimal point here, we need to fill in that hole with a 0. So we've got an answer of 1,560. Question 3. Work out 27 minus 8 times 2. So this is all about knowing what order to do things. So if you remember your BIDMAS rules, the multiplication needs to be done before the subtraction. So 8 times 2, or let's do it with 8 2. We could do 2 8s or 8 2s. We'll do 8 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So instead of the 8 times 2, we can write 16. But we've still got the 27 first. So 27 minus 16. Let's do that as a column up here. 7 minus 6 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is just equal to 11. Question 4. Use approximations to estimate 19.62 plus 4.97 plus 10.25. Okay, so approximations. It says do not calculate the exact answer. Right, so if we're going to approximate, let's approximate to the nearest whole number. So 19.62, well, we look at the first decimal place, which is a 6. If it's 5 or more, we need to round up. So the 19 is going to become, so put approximately equal to 20. Okay. Same with this one. First decimal place is 9. It's 5 or more, so we round up. So the 4 increases by 1. So that becomes 5. And 10.25, this first decimal place, well, it's less than 5, so we just keep it as it is. That's just going to stay as 10. So we've now got 20 plus 5 plus 10. 0 plus 5 plus 0 is just 5. And 2 plus 1 is 3. 35. Okay. Question 5. Work out 2/3 times 27. Okay. Times means the same as of, so 2/3 of 27. So we can think, well, let's work out what 1/3 of 27 would be first of all. So let's go with 27 divided by 3. Well, let's use our 3 times table. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. So that's 9 times. So if 1/3 is 9, then 2/3 are going to be 2 9s. And 9 plus 9 is 18. Question 6. Aisha decides to improve her health and fitness. 6a. Aisha runs around a field. The diagram shows the path she runs around the field. The diagram is not drawn accurately, but we've got these measurements here. Okay. Now we need to have a look at the question. Aisha runs around the field 5 times. She says, I have run more than 3.5 kilometers. Is she correct? Let's move that. Yeah. Okay. So let's work out what once round the field would be. Then we can multiply that by 5. So start here. It doesn't matter which way we go around, but it's just to make sure I don't miss out any measurements. So we've got 190. Then we've got 130. Then we've got 240. And then we've got 120 back to the start. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 3 is 12. Plus 4 is 16. Plus 2 is 18. 1 plus 1 is 2. Plus 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. So we've got 680 metres. But she's going to do it 5 times. So we're now going to multiply that by 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 8, we've got 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So we include the 4. 5 times 6, we've got 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, plus the 4 gives us 34. So we've got 3,400, and that's metres. Now, let's have a look back at the question. I've run more than 3.5 kilometres. Okay, well, if we want to turn it into from kilometres to metres, there's 1,000 metres in 1 kilometre. So 3.5 times 1,000, we're going to move the decimal place 1, 2, 3 times. So we would have 3,500 metres. Well, that is more than 3,400 metres, which she actually ran. So is she correct? No, she's not run more than that. She's run less than that. Okay, so 6b. Aisha wants to drink at least 3 litres of water per day. She measures the amount of water she drinks. A small glass is 0.2 litres, a large glass is 0.35 litres, and a bottle is 0.5 litres. On Monday, she drinks 6 small glasses of water, 4 large glasses of water, and 1 bottle of water. Does Aisha drink at least 3 litres of water on Monday? Right, so we can probably do it from here, I think. So 6 small glasses of water. So what we need to do is multiply this by 6, multiply this by 4, and this by 1, add it all together, and then compare it to 3 litres. So 0.2 times 6. Well, the best way to do it is to think, well, if we do 2 times 6, 2 times 6 is 12. Oh, giving the answer away. 2 times 6 is 12. But we've got 1 decimal place, so we put that back in there to make it 1.2 litres. 0.35, we want 4 of these. So let's do this over here. I'm ignoring the decimal place for now. 4 times 5, we've got 5, 10, 15, 20. 4 times 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, plus a 2 is 14. So we've got 140. So 140 But remember, we've got 2 decimal places, so we move the decimal point 1, 2. So we get 1.4 or 1.40 litres. And then we've just got 1 bottle. So that's just times 1. So we've got 0.5 litres. So if we add these all together, the 0 is just going to be 0. 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 5 is 11. So 1 carry the 1. Bring the decimal point down. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus another 1 is 3. So we've got 3.1 litres. Well, that is more than 3 litres. So does she drink at least 3 litres on Monday? Yes, she does. And finally, on the non-calculator section, if I just straighten this up, we've got 6C. Aisha decides to join a gym. The gym has this advert. Gym membership, £40 per month. Pay for 12 months and get a discount of 10% from the total cost. Aisha will pay for 12 months membership. She says, with the discount, I will pay less than £450. Is she correct? Okay, so let's start it from, let's bring it down here, then we've got it all in the picture. Right, so let's work it all out. So £40 a month for 12 months. So really what we want is 40 times 12. But what we can do is say, well, let's just do 4 times 12. Let's ignore the 0 for now. 4 times 2, or 2 times 4 is 8. And 1 times 4 is 4. We've got a 0, so we put the 0 on here. We also put a 0 on there. So we've got £480. Okay. Now she does get a discount, and she gets a discount of 10%. So 10% of £480. Well, we just take the 0 off the end to get £48. Now, if we want to take that money off, we need to do 480 minus the £48 discount. So 0 minus 8 we can't do because 8's bigger than 0. So reduce the 8 to 7, pass 1 over to make that 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3. 4 minus nothing is still 4. So we've got £432. That is less than £450. So is she correct? She says I will pay less. Yes, she is correct. Okay, so now we're on to the calculator section. Now I should say, with the non-calculator section, for some reason I could only find the large print version, which is why it looked a little bit different when I was going through it. But luckily for the calculator version, it's in the usual format, although it's slightly smaller. But hopefully you'll still be able to follow it okay. So let's have a look. Question 1. An angle measures 290 degrees. What type of angle is it? Circle your answer. Right, so we've got different types of angles. We've got this type where it's less than 90 degrees. That would be our acute angle. We've got a right angle. That's where it's perpendicular, and we often have it shown with a square. That would be a right angle. Then we get these types of angles. This is where it's more than a right angle, but less than 180 degrees. And that is an obtuse angle. A reflex angle, well, that's where it is, looks similar to this, but it's the angle on the outside. So it's where it's more than 180 degrees. And 290 is more than 180. So it must be a reflex angle. Question 2. Write 1/5 as a decimal. We can use our calculator for this. So 1/5 just means 1 divided by 5. 0.2. There you go, that's a pretty straightforward 1 mark. Okay, question 3. Khalid is facing west. He makes a quarter turn to the left. Which direction is he facing now? Okay, so let's draw our compass directions. The north will never eat shredded wheat. So he's facing west. Actually, let's do it separately. He's facing west that way. He makes a quarter turn to the left. So imagine, so you might even want to turn your body. So you're facing west. I'm doing that myself now. And I'm going to quarter turn to the left. It would be this way. So I would now be facing south. Imagine that this arrow is just rotated round this way, pointing down south. Question 4. Work out the range of these numbers. So the range is the difference between the largest number and the smallest number. Well, what's the largest number we've got here? 25, 43, 56, 92. Anything bigger than 92? No, so that's the biggest. And the smallest, 25. Anything smaller? 18. Yeah, 18 is the smallest. So we want the difference between these two. So we want 92 minus 18. Again, we've got our calculator. We get 74. That's for 2 marks. That's a nice 2 mark question, I would say. Right. Question 5. Work out 5% of 340. 5%, so that's 5 out of 100. Of means times 340. So 5 divided by 100 times 340 gives us 17. Question 6. Here are 16 values. Complete the grouped frequency table with the tallies and frequencies. Now, if you want, you can go through them one at a time and put the tally on. I prefer to just count them. So for the first group, I've got values between 1 and 10. So if I've got any between, I've got 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to write 3 and do my tally afterwards. It's up to you which order you do them. Then we've got 11 to 20. So that's between 11 and 21. So 2, 3, 4. So we've got 4 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 21 to 30. So 21 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the tally for this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one goes across, 5, 6, 7. And values between 31 and 40, we've got 1, 2. And that should have used them all up. So 1, 2. And if we want to do a check, let's add these all up. We've got 3 plus 4 plus 7 plus 2 is 16, which is what we've got there. So that all looks fine to me. Question 7. Here is an L shape. And we've got all the different measurements written on here. Work out the area of the shape. So if I want to work out the area of this shape, I'm going to split it into rectangles. So I could either split it up this way, but for no particular reason, I'm going to split it this way instead. So we know that the area of a rectangle is the length times the width. So this one, the length is going to be 7.3. The width is going to be 2.9. 7.3 times 2.9 gives us 21.17. And then this rectangle down here, the length of this one is going to be 4.1 and the width is going to be 2.5. So we got 4.1 times 2.5 and we get 10.25 centimetres. And again, because it's area, it's going to be centimetres squared. So if we want the total area, we need to add these two together. We've already got 10.25 in the calculator, so just add that to 21.17 and we get 31.42 centimetres squared. Question 8. Cycling at the lake. A group of 4 adults and 3 children are hiring bikes to cycle around a lake. The table shows the cost of bike hire. So we've got the electric bike hire for adults and for children, and the standard bike hire for adults and children. So you can see it's more expensive for the electric bike than the standard, and it's also more expensive for adults than children, which all seems reasonable. That's kind of what we'd expect. So we've got 2 of the adults and 3 of the children each hire electric bikes. The other 2 adults hire standard bikes. Is £160 enough to hire these bikes? You must show you're working. So 2 of the adults and 3 children hire electric bikes. So we want 2 of those and 3 of those. The other 2 adults hire standard, so we want 2 of those. Right, so if we... where should we do this? Let's write this down here. So we can just get the calculator. So I'll do it bit by bit. So 34.99 times 2, we get 69.98. Then if we do the children ones underneath, we've got £10.75 times 3. We've got £32.25. And then this one we can do over this way. We got 24.99 times 2, which is £49.98. So if we add these all up, I'm going to do it backwards because I've already got that one in. So 49.98 plus 32.25 plus 69.98 gives me £152.21. Well, that is less than 160. So is £106 enough to hire these bikes? Yes. Okay. 6b. At 1:15 p.m, the group starts cycling the 36 kilometres around the lake. They cycle around the lake once and cycle 12 kilometres every hour. Then they have a picnic for 55 minutes. At what time do they finish the picnic? Right, so 36 kilometres and they're doing 12 in every hour. So if we do 36 divided by 12, this should tell us how many hours they need to cycle for. So 36 divided by 12, so that is 3 hours. They then have a picnic for 55 minutes. So plus 55 minutes. Well, that's going to be 3 hours and 55 minutes. Now, we want to know what time they finish. Well, they start at 1:15 and we're adding on 3 hours and 55. Okay, so we can say 1 plus 3 is 4. And then, well, I've sort of done it the hours. I'm doing the hours and the minutes separately. If we do the 15 plus the 55, you'll see we get 15 plus 55 is 70. So we've got 4 hours and 70 minutes. But that doesn't really make sense, 70 minutes, because we know there's only 60 minutes in an hour. So if we do 70 minus 60, which is 10 minutes, we'll see that 70 minutes is actually 1 hour and 10 minutes. So instead of 4, this is going to become 5 hours, and instead of 70 minutes, it's going to be 10 minutes. Okay. Although if we're writing this in terms of the time, this is going to be 5:10 p.m. So I might have made it a little bit long-winded the way I explained it there, but hopefully you've got the idea. What you could do instead is say 3 hours and 55 minutes. That's just 5 minutes short of 4 hours. So if we increase this by 4 hours, that would take us, 1 plus 4 is 5, so it takes us to 5:15, and then take off 5 minutes. Gets you back to 5:10. That's probably a more simple way of doing it. (8C). The group will travel home by taxi. The distance home is 16 kilometres. They need one 7-seater taxi. Here are the prices for 2 taxi companies. Company A, the price is £12.75 plus £1.50 times the distance in kilometres. And for Company B, it's just a fixed price of £38. How much cheaper is it for the group to use Company A than Company B? So if we start with Company A, we've got £12.75 plus £1.50 times the distance, which is 16 kilometres. Now remember, we need to do the multiplication before we do the add. So £1.50 times 16 gives us 24. So we've still got the £12.75 here, but we're now adding on £24. Okay, so 24 plus the £12.75, £36.75. They want to know how much cheaper it is to use Company A, so that means we need to take this away from the price of Company B. So we're going to do £38 minus 36.75. We can put that into memory. So 38 minus memory recall, which is 36.75, gives us £1.25p. I say it as £1.25p, but remember, when you're writing the pound sign, you never write the p as well. Okay, so just have the pounds. Okay, question 9. Fruit grower. Anna grows fruit on her farm. Anna is going to divide a field on her farm into 6 metre by 4 metre rectangles. The grid below is a scale drawing of the field. It is drawn on centimetre square paper. Use the grid to show that Anna can divide the field into 10 of the 6 metre by 4 metre rectangles. It says you may practice on this grid, but I'm going to do it straight onto this grid. Okay, and the scale is 1 centimetre represents 2 metres. So that means if we want 6 metres, but each 2 metres is really 1 centimetre on the grid. So we want to divide this by 2 metres to tell us how many squares we need on the paper. Well, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So it's going to be 3 squares, or sides of a square. And the 4 metres, well, we're going to divide that by 2. I won't do it with the calculator. 4 divided by 2, I know is going to be 2 squares. Right, so that means each rectangle that we want to make is going to be 3 squares by 2 squares. So if we start in this corner, let's go down this way. 1, 2, 3 down, and 1, 2 across. Okay, so that's my first rectangle. So this is 3 squares, but we know that 3 squares represents 6 meters, and 2 squares, so 2 meters, 4 meters. Okay, so we want to see how many rectangles we can fit that are this size. In fact, they're asking us whether we can fit 10 in. So I'm just going to copy these across first of all. So 1, 2, so this is going to be my next rectangle here. So I'll call that rectangle 2. Let's do another one, 2 squares across. So that's rectangle 3. Go across another 2. Rectangle 4. We can fit another one here. It's rectangle 5, and we can get one more in across here. Rectangle 6. Well, what about the bottom? Well, we can't fit them in this shape anymore. So what about if we go down 2 and then along 3? So it's still 2 by 3, it's just different rotation. So this is going to be rectangle number 7. Rectangle number 8. 1, 2, 3 would come to here. Rectangle 9, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. So there you go, we've shown we can fit 10 rectangles onto the field. (9b). Anna buys some cherry trees and apple trees to plant in another field. She buys 7 cherry trees. The ratio of cherry trees to apple trees is 1 to 3. So for every 1 cherry tree she buys, she's going to buy 3 apple trees. This is the cost of each type of tree. Work out the total cost of the trees. So I'm going to draw a little ratio table here. So we're going to have cherry, apple, and we'll have a total column. So for every 1 cherry tree, we've got 3 apple trees. Okay, and if we just had 1 and 3, we would have 4 in total. She's telling us that she buys 7 cherry trees. Well, from 1 to 7, that's 7 times, so multiplying by 7. So if we want to know how many apple trees we got, we're going to need to multiply that by 7. So 3 times 7, you might not need your calculator for this, but it gives us 21. And if we want to check, if we do 4 times 7, we get 28, and also 7 plus 21 is 28. But we don't actually need this. What we need now is we need to work out the total cost. So we know we want 7 lots of £33.25 plus 21 lots, oh, I should have been more careful where I was writing this, times £25.79. So if we do this in 2 parts, we'll do 7 times 33.25 gives us £232.75, and 21 lots of 25.79 gives us 541.59. So if we add those both together, we get £774.34. (9c). Anna has 6 blueberry bushes. Here are the weights of blueberries in kilograms she picked from the bushes this year. So we've got 3.62, 3.82, 3.87, 3.68, 3.95 and 3.74. Last year she picked an average of 3.72 kilograms of blueberries per bush. She says, on average, I have picked a greater weight of blueberries per bush this year. Is she correct? Okay, so we're talking averages. Now, because this is level 1, the average we're talking about is going to be the mean. And the mean is the total divided by the frequency, or how many we've got. Okay, so if you're thinking median, could be, but that would be a level 2 question. So just stick with mean for now. So to work out the total, we've got to add these all together. So 3.62 plus 3.82 plus 3.87 plus 3.68 plus 3.95 plus 3.74. We've got a total of £22.68 divided by, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we get a mean of 3.78 kilograms. On average, I picked a greater weight this year. Well, it was 3.72, which is less than 3.78. So yes, it has gone up. Is she correct? Yes, she is. Question 10. Sweet shop. Robin sells pick and mix sweets. Okay, that's just a picture of some sweets. It's not very clear, but to be honest, it's not really telling us much at all. Let's move up to the actual question. 10a. Indy buys a bag of sweets from Robin. She chooses only jelly snakes, cola bottles and sour apples. She picks 47 sweets in total, 17 jelly snakes, half as many sour apples as cola bottles. Draw a bar chart on the grid on the page opposite to represent Indy's sweets. Okay, so first we need to know how many we've got of each sweet. So we've got jelly snakes. We're told there's 17 jelly snakes. Okay, 17 jelly snakes. Done. Now, the rest are either cola bottles or sour apples. So if we do 47 minus 17, that's going to tell us how many of the other sweets we've got. So we've got 30 sweets, which are a combination of cola bottles and sour apples. But we know that there are half as many sour apples as cola bottles. So let's do a little ratio table for this. So we've got which way around? It doesn't really matter which way we do it. Half as many sour apples as cola bottles, and that's going to be our total. Half as many sour apples as cola, so that means for every 1 sour apple there's going to be 2 cola bottles, half the number. And if that's all we had, there would be 30 sweets. But actually we know that there's a total of 30 cola bottles and sour apples altogether. So how are we getting from 3 to 30? Well, if we do the opposite, the inverse, and we think, well, let's do 30 divided by 3. We get 10. So to get from 3 to 30, we've multiplied it by 10. So we need to do the same thing here and here to find out how many sour apples and cola bottles. Well, 1 times 10 is 10. 2 times 10 is 20. Right, so we've got 17 jelly snakes, 20 cola bottles, and 10 sour apples. Right, so now all we need to do is to draw our bar chart. So let's turn over the page. They've given us this already, which should be helpful. Right, now they've started it, but they've not written everything on here. So what we're going to do, well, let's go have at the bottom, we're going to have the sweet type. And how many boxes do we want to use? Well, we've got 3 different categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's maybe go 3 boxes for each. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter too much. You want to use at least half the paper. You don't want it to be too small. And you want your bars to be the same width. So we're going to have our... And don't worry about changing the order, just keep them in the order they're given. So jelly snakes, I think then they gave us cola bottles. And then we had sour apples. Yeah, I always have my bars touching without gaps just because it's easier to draw. And they've done the scale for us as well. So we had 17 jelly snakes. So 17 is going to be halfway between 16 and 18. So we're going to draw that across there. Then we worked out that we've got 20 cola bottles. So 20 is going to be up here. And sour apples, we had 10. Okay, and everything we need. We could maybe put a title. Let's put something like sweets. There you go, that'll do. Okay. 10B. Robin has 5 jars of sweets. Each jar contains 1.8 kilograms of sweets. Robin makes up some bags of sweets to sell. Each bag contains 160 grams of sweets. How many bags can he fill? So we've got some measurements in kilograms and some in, or 1 in kilograms, 1 in grams. We want to get them both in the same. So I know that there's 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So to turn this into grams, we're going to multiply it by 1,000. So 1.8 times 1,000 gives us 1,800 grams. We want to split them up into 160 gram bags. Although before we do that, he's got 5 jars of sweets. So we want to multiply this by 5. So we get a total of 9,000 grams. Okay, that's for our 5 jars. We then want to split it into 160 gram bags. So we want 9,000 divided by 160. So we've got 9,000 in the calculator already, divided by 160. And we get 56.25 bags. Well, the 0.25 of a bag isn't really going to be any good. So he can fill, so in other words, to the top, he can do 56 bags. 56 bags. Yes, he goes into the 57th, but he only fills 56 of them. (10C). Robin buys 15 kilograms of toffees for £120. He sells the toffees in bags. Each bag contains 1 kilogram of toffees. Robin wants to make a profit of exactly 30% on the cost of the toffees. How much should he charge for each bag of toffees? Okay, so let's see how many bags we're going to have first of all. So 15 kilograms, and each bag contains 1 kilogram. Well, it's just going to be, if it's 15 kilograms, he's dividing them into 1 kilogram bags. So it's 15 divided by 1, which is going to be 15 bags. Oh, I keep doing that. 15 bags. Right, okay. He wants to make a profit of exactly 30%. Well, let's work out what the cost is first of all. So we've got, well, we know the cost, which is £120. So actually what we want to do is work out what 30% of that is, add it on. That'll tell us how much he needs to sell them for. Because he needs to sell them for 30% more than he pays for them in the first place. So if we want 30%, we want 30 out of 100 times 120. This is going to tell us how much profit he needs to make. 30 out of 100 times 120. So we need to make £36 profit, which means we need to sell them for £36 more than what we started with. So if we add on the original 120, it means we need to sell them for £156. Okay, but they want to know how much we charge for each bag. How much we charge for each bag. So if it's £156 in total, we've got 15 bags. 56 divided by 15. We've got 10.4, but because it's money, that's going to be £10.40. Final answer. Question 11. Keeping fish. George keeps fish. 11A. George wants to buy a new pump for this fish tank. And we've got the measurements of the fish tank there. He has to buy the correct size of pump for the volume of the fish tank. He finds this information. And the size of the pump, we've got small, medium and large. And the volume of the tank. The small one is for less than 55 litres. The medium one is for 55 litres to 90 litres. And the large pump is for more than 90 litres. And we're told that 1 litre equals 1,000 centimetres cubed. Work out the correct size of pump that George needs for the fish tank. You must show your working. So we need to work out the volume. So the volume of a cuboid is the length times the width times the height. Doesn't matter which order you use the measurements. I'm going to have that as the length, 60, the width as 36, and the height is 45. 60 times 36 times 45 gives us 97,200, and that's going to be centimetres cubed because it's volume. We want to get it into litres though, and remember they've told us 1,000 centimetres is 1 litre. So we want to divide that by 1,000. Which gives us 97.2 litres. Well, 97.2 is more than 90 litres, so we're going to need to go large. Okay, let's have this here. 11B. George wants to buy 6 angelfish. He sees these adverts from 2 shops. So let's move that up. We don't need to see the picture of the angelfish. If you've seen Finding Nemo, you know what an angelfish looks like. Shop Y has got angelfish, £14.98 each. Buy 5 and get a 6th half price. Shop Z, buy 2 angelfish for £26. George wants to pay the lowest possible price for 6 angelfish. Which of these shops should he choose? You must show your working. Right, okay, so let's start with shop Y. We want 6 angelfish, and we're told if you buy 5, the sixth one is half price. So it's going to be 5 at £14.98. And plus the sixth one is half price. So it's going to be £14.98 divided by 2. I'm going to put brackets around this just to make it clear. So we're doing 5 lots and then we need half. So we're doing 5.5. So you could say 5.5 times 14.98 and do it in one go. But I'm going to break this down and say 5 times 14.98 is £74.90. And then £14.98 divided by 2, or half of that, is £7.49. And if we add those together, we get £82.39. But I'll just show you that if we had just said, well, we want 5.5 times 14.98, we get the same answer. Okay, right, so that's the cost at Shop Y. Shop Z, buy 2 angelfish for £26. But we don't want 2, we don't want 4, we want 6. So that's 3 lots of this. So we want 3 times 26, which is £78. Which of the shops should he choose? Well, 78 is less than £82.39, so we want Shop Z. And finally for this paper, we've got question 11C. George uses 0.4 grams of fish food each day. He buys a 15 gram tub of fish food. Is this enough for more than 6 weeks? You must show your working. Right. More than 6 weeks. Well, 6 weeks would be 6 lots of 7 days. So that would be 42 days. Okay. What we can do, there's a couple of ways of doing this. What I'm going to do is say, well, let's work out how many days worth we get. So if we've got 15 grams in a tub, we've got a 15 gram tub, each day it's 0.4. So divide it by 0.4, that's going to tell us how many days it's going to last. So 15 divided by 0.4 gives us 37.5 days. Okay, so it will last for 37.5 days, but we need it to last for 42 days. So is there enough for more than 6 weeks? No, there's not. And that's the end of the paper. So I hope you found it helpful. Again, apologies that the non-calculator section is a bit of a funny font. At some point, they might upload it to the website on the original scale and format, in which case I might redo it. But otherwise, you should still be able to follow it. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you find out when I add more videos, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.